Malta, the sun-soaked rock in the heart of the Mediterranean that somehow manages to feel both ancient and alive. A place where medieval streets lead you to turquoise waters, and centuries of history sit right next to modern cafes, buzzing with digital nomads from all over the world. This tiny island nation may be small, just over 500,000 people, but it's full of energy. And here's the interesting part. Nearly 30% of Malta's population are foreigners. That's right. Almost 1 in 3 people you'll meet here came from somewhere else. No wonder the island feels like a mix of languages, cultures, and ideas all wrapped in sunshine and sea breeze. Malta is part of the European Union and the Schengen zone, which means the euro is the local currency. And yes, that also means prices can feel a little European. But honestly, that's part of the deal. With more expats arriving each year, demand has pushed prices up, especially for rent and daily expenses. Another reason things can get pricey, around 80% of the Maltese population lives in urban areas, which means fewer farmlands and more imported products. From your morning eggs to that fancy bottle of olive oil, much of what's on the shelves has traveled across the sea to get here. Still, there's something magnetic about Malta. The golden limestone houses glowing at sunset, the crystal blue water that looks photoshopped even in real life, the easygoing lifestyle that keeps people smiling even when traffic gets crazy. It's the kind of place where you start thinking, yeah, I could live here. So in this video, let's break down what that dream would cost, from rent and groceries to transportation, utilities, and the small everyday things that make Malta what it is. Grab a drink, find a sunny spot, and let's dive into the real cost of living in Malta. Let's start with the big one, rent. If you've done even 5 minutes of apartment hunting online, you probably already know that rents here can be astronomical, especially in neighborhoods like Slima, St. Julian's, and Paysville. The beating heart of Malta's nightlife, cafes, and expat buzz. These are the places where everything's happening, and landlords definitely know it. So we won't even bother considering those if you're looking for a balanced lifestyle and a reasonable budget. Most expats actually start out a little further away, in areas like Gira, Masida, Suiki, or Sangwan. Close enough to the action, but far enough that your wallet can still breathe. If you're sharing a flat, expect to pay around 600 euros per month for your own room in a decent apartment. Want your own space? A small studio starts from about 800 euros. Though don't expect sea views or designer furniture at that price. You'll usually need to pay 1 month's rent as a deposit. The landlord keeps it and returns it when you move out, assuming the place is in the same condition. Then there's the real estate agent fee, which is 50% of 1 month's rent plus 18% VAT on top of that. Yeah, I know, it sounds a bit complicated and expensive, but that's just how things work here. Consider it your first Maltese puzzle to solve. The good news? Most rentals come fully furnished with all the basics: furniture, appliances, sometimes even kitchenware. So you can move in with just your suitcase, laptop, and maybe your coffee machine. And yes, if you've got the budget or some crypto burning a hole in your wallet, you can absolutely go wild. There are sea view penthouses with pools in places like Tigny Point or Portomaso Marina that can cost several thousand euros a month. Malta has no ceiling when it comes to luxury living. Now that you've found a place to live, it's time to talk about something far more delicious: food. On average, you can expect to spend around 200 euros a month on groceries if you cook at home and shop smart. The island has all the major supermarket chains: Lidl, Greens, Smart, Welby's, and more. Plus lots of local convenience stores like Dave's or Scott's that pop up on every corner. Lidl is definitely the cheapest, but it's worth keeping an eye on prices even there. Sometimes the same product can cost more in one shop than another, so it pays to compare before you fill your basket. If you prefer eating out, and let's be honest, with Malta's weather and cafe culture, you'll probably do that often. Expect to spend around 15 to 20 euros per meal in a decent local restaurant. A simple pizza or pasta dish will usually set you back around 10 euros, while trendier spots in Sliema or St. Julian's can easily reach 50 euros plus per person, especially if you're sipping wine and watching the sunset. And yes, just like with rent, there's no upper limit. If you want to splurge, Malta will gladly take your money in exchange for sea views and truffle oil. When it comes to coffee, it's refreshingly affordable. You can grab a cappuccino for €1.50 to €4, depending on the cafe and the view. The cozy local bars usually charge less, while the waterfront cafes charge more. You're basically paying extra for the sea breeze and the Instagram angle. Overall, food costs in Malta aren't shocking compared to Western Europe, but your spending really depends on your lifestyle. Getting around Malta is, let's say, a bit of an adventure. The island is small, but don't be fooled. Traffic can move at the speed of a lazy turtle on a hot afternoon. The good news is that public buses are completely free for residents. To use them, you'll need to get a Talinja card, which costs a one-time fee of €30. After that, all rides are free. No monthly fees, no limits. You can even hop on ferries between Sliema, Valletta, and the three cities with the same card. It's actually a great deal if you don't like driving or just want to save money. That said, Maltese buses aren't exactly known for German-level punctuality. They work, eventually, but you'll need a bit of patience. Schedules are more like friendly suggestions. If you prefer comfort, taxis and Bolt rides are easily available and quite affordable. Expect to pay around €7 to €8 for a 10 to 15-minute ride. For short distances, that's a fair deal, especially late at night or when the buses decide to vanish. Now, if you're thinking about buying a car, be prepared. Cars in Malta are expensive because of import taxes. It's not uncommon for even a used car to cost significantly more than what you'd pay elsewhere in Europe. But once you've got one, the good news is that fuel is relatively cheap, around €1.20 per liter. So here's the summary. If you're patient, buses and ferries will get you almost anywhere for free. If you're practical, Bolt and taxis will save you time. And if you're stubborn and love your freedom, sure, get a car, just don't check your bank account right after. To be honest, I haven't spent summers in Malta, so most of the year I never paid more than €50 for utilities. That's electricity, water, and gas combined. But I can easily imagine that during those hot Mediterranean summers when the AC is running all day, your bill can jump to €100 or even more. Internet is straightforward and solid, good enough for remote work and streaming without issues. A decent Wi-Fi connection will cost you around €25 to €30 per month, and most apartments already have providers set up, so it's easy to get started. Overall, your monthly bills stay quite manageable, unless you decide to transform your apartment into a polar research station in August. Malta might be small, but when it comes to lifestyle, it really punches above its weight. Whether you're into laid-back evenings, beach sunsets, or full-on nightlife, there's always something happening. Bars and pubs are everywhere, from cozy local spots in Sliema and Gira to stylish rooftop bars in St. Julian's and Valletta. A pint or a cocktail will usually set you back around €8 to €15, and if you go out with friends for a proper night, expect to spend €30 to €50 easily. If you're into movies, cinemas are modern and fairly priced, around €8 to €10 a ticket, and many of them play films in English, which is nice if you're not into subtitles. During the warmer months, Malta turns into one big outdoor party. There are beach clubs, live music events, open-air cinemas, and summer festivals that bring the island to life. The nightlife in Paceville is legendary, crowded, loud, and absolutely wild. But if that's not your vibe, don't worry. You'll find chill lounges and sea view restaurants where you can sip wine and watch the sunset instead. For day-to-day fun, you've got tons of options. Coastal walks, scuba diving, sailing trips, or just hopping on a ferry to Gozo for a weekend escape. Gyms are easy to find too, with memberships starting around €40 to €50 per month, and plenty of outdoor fitness spots if you prefer fresh air. In short, Malta might be small, but it's packed with things to do. You can live like a beach bum, a party animal, or a quiet remote worker who just enjoys the sun and sea. It's really up to you. Alright, let's break it all down and see what living in Malta actually costs. Rent will probably be your biggest expense, around €800 for a small studio a bit further from the main action, or a shared apartment in a more central spot. Groceries for one person come to about €200 if you're practical and keep an eye on prices, shopping at Lidl, local supermarkets, or neighborhood convenience stores. Getting around is pretty affordable too. Using public buses and ferries with the Talinja card and the occasional taxi will land you at roughly €50 per month. Utilities and internet are €50 most of the year, but in the summer, with all that AC running, expect at least double that. Entertainment and nights out can easily run €150, especially if you stick with local bars, pubs, and casual outings. Though of course, Malta has no limits if you want to splurge. Small extras like haircuts, toiletries, or little indulgences average around €50. All in, a comfortable life in Malta comes to about €1,300 per month, giving you a cozy home, good food, easy transport, and plenty of ways to enjoy the island without blowing your budget. Yes, you can legally live in Malta as a remote worker, but there are rules. Malta's Nomad residence permit is the main route for non-EU remote workers. To qualify, you must be able to prove you work remotely for companies or clients outside Malta, have health insurance, show proof of accommodation, a clean criminal record, and meet the income threshold. The minimum is about €42,000 gross per year. The permit is issued through Malta's online system and is typically granted for 1 year, renewable. And importantly, it does not allow you to take on work for Maltese employers. If you want to work locally as a freelancer or set up a business, that's a different path. You'll need the appropriate residence and business registration, and in many cases, a work or self-employment license. EU citizens have much simpler rules. You can move, register, and work under EU freedom of movement rules. For families and long-term plans, be prepared. There are documents, translation, and sometimes fee requirements, so give yourself time to collect bank statements, contracts, insurance, and police checks before you apply. Malta isn't perfect, and it's worth knowing what you might be signing up for before you pack your bags. First off, summer can get seriously hot. Think 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. And older apartments often struggle with cooling. Traffic can also be a headache. The streets are narrow, parking is limited, and if you plan to drive, the combination of small roads and impatient drivers takes some getting used to. Another thing to keep in mind is cost. Malta might feel affordable at first, but with a high percentage of urban residents, imported goods, and a strong expat demand, certain things, especially rent in prime areas or sea view apartments, can get really expensive. And yes, bureaucracy exists here too. From residency paperwork to setting up utilities, it can be slow, so patience is key. Lastly, if you're a fan of variety, the island's small size means nightlife, shopping, and cultural events are limited compared to a big city. But for many expats, the trade-off is worth it. Sunshine, Mediterranean vibes, and a relaxed pace of life often outweigh the minor headaches. Could Malta be your next home? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more city cost breakdowns and insider tips.